Welcome, everybody, to the Channel Vision Magazine webinar featuring Crescendo, which is going to unveil for us the untapped value of AI in customer experience. I'm your moderator, Bruce Christian, Senior Editor of Channel Vision Magazine. Our host is Crescendo's Chief Revenue Officer, John Britton. And with that, let me turn it over to John Britton.
Thank you, Bruce and Rob. Appreciate your hosting today, and appreciate everyone in the audience for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. As Bruce said, I'm John Brinton, Chief Revenue Officer at Crescendo. I'm joined today by my colleague Trent Dewey, who is Crescendo's CCaaS subject matter expert, and Trent's going to take us through a live demo and show you a lot of what we're talking about today, so you'll actually get to see it real time. And our topic today is pretty exciting. It's revolutionizing customer experience, and it's the untapped value of generative AI and CX. So since I hit you with two acronyms in the first slide, we'll try not to do that too much in today's session, but basically many of you are familiar with the ChatGPT and other what we call generative AI engines, which are actually engines that can learn on their own, assimilate new information. And what we've done at Crescendo is we've actually now enabled that technology to help companies improve their customer experience. And we're going to be showing you a couple of real world examples of how that works today in our session. So that is the untapped value of generative AI and customer experience, and really elevating a company's customer experience. For those of you that aren't familiar with Crescendo, just to take 30 seconds to tell you a little bit about us. We provide unified communications as a service and omnichannel contact center as a service, which means basically cloud-based communications for your employees and to help support your customers. And what's unique about us is actually on G2.com, which is the largest independent software review site in the world, we're actually ranked number one amongst our industry by real customers in a lot of these areas. And this is a little bit of a brag slide, but just to show you the areas that our customers have scored us well, with a rating of 4.9 out of 5 overall, 5 stars. So just like you rate your Uber driver, customers rate us, and we have the highest ranking on G2.com. Our platform also enables over 200 other service providers that deliver solutions like this to end customers. And so the same technology that we deploy ourselves is deployed by many to help deliver a better employee and customer experience. So that's just a bit about us. Now, to give you some context for kind of how we deliver these generative AI solutions, what we've got is what we call an omnichannel contact center as a service platform. So it helps companies enable customer experience. And when you look at CIO investments and where folks are interested in improving in their business, it is that relationship that companies have with their customers. And that's what we define as customer experience. In fact, most consumers rank their experience with a brand today as more important than the product that the company delivers. So our platform is integrated with our UCaaS offering. It's omnichannel, which means that basically any way your customer wants to contact you, we can support that in a way that your agents or employees can help support those customers. It's intelligent. We're going to talk in this session about how we're infusing this contact center platform with artificial intelligence through things like speech analytics, virtual assistant, agent assist, contact routing, and our real topic for today, which is the AI chatbots, which are just really exciting, very flexible, and it's cloud delivered. So when we say omnichannel, we'll show you this in a graphic later. It means supporting about any way that a customer wants to interact or contact your brand. And the reason why that's important is as the consumers age generationally in the peak consumption ages, which are under 50, and we go through generational change, or when you serve a broad consumer range of customers and potential customers, we find that based on generational preferences, more consumers of the future, so people that are Gen Zers, and then also the millennials, which are a core group of consumers today and moving on up, they tend to prefer what we call digital channels. So, interacting with a human through the phone call is actually, if you see that 65 plus on down, the green bar at the bottom, that's becoming less and less important or less and less preferred. So all customers have their own channel of choice, whether it's through communicating through social media, through applications like WeChat, SMS, email, your inbound calling, it's traditional calling, or web chat that we're going to talk about more today. Every consumer has their own preferred channel for interacting with a company or a brand, but you can see there are changing preferences by generation. And so as we deal with that, our CX solution helps to deliver solutions that can help companies support customers of all different ages and preferences. And then if that customer chooses to interact with the brand over multiple channels of choice, take those conversations, put them together so your agents can assist them more differently. And we talked about infusing our contact center with AI. We're actually using the Microsoft Azure Open API, OpenAI ChatGPT engine. So the enterprise grade engine to drive a lot of these different components of our solutions, in different areas. What we're really focused on today is some of the chatbot and then more agent and supervisor assistance that's done through AI. So we're going to take some time today because there's a fair amount of content to really kind of hone in on that area and really show you how these type of chatbots can make a difference in your customer experience. But just understand that this technology that we're leveraging will be infusing all parts of the customer experience solution that we're delivering to companies. So what can chatbots do for you or do for your brand or your company? We've seen traditionally the rules-based chatbots, which tend to be more binary or like multiple choice questions, where you can go to a website, you can ask what hours are you open, what's your address, what's the local cross streets, and it can deliver kind of programmatic rules-based answers that are predefined. And what we're talking about in today's session is taking that, but enhancing it with this AI-infused chatbot where it can answer any question that a customer might ask. And if it can't answer that question, give you a way to easily reach an agent or to escalate to a human. But what chatbots really do for organizations is they help them to enhance their customer service 24/7. You don't have to have agents on the clock. We've all used them and interacted with them. Some giving great examples of that type of experience, some giving bad examples, but it's a way to automate repetitive tasks, common questions, be available for a customer whenever they're in the moment and have the question that they want to deal with many of the routine interactions that a company might have in a real-time way at scale, so it doesn't take agent resources, and then help companies' agents focus on those conversations that they need to have with customers, so that it takes a lot of the routine, mundane tasks off of those people that support customers and allows them to engage in a more real-time way with the customer interactions that matter. And the really nice thing about this is it integrates into your CRM or other workflows or many ways that Trent's going to show you that you can kind of prioritize and route based on different skills of agents. So, that's part of the real savings and enhanced service that companies can offer What's new about that is chatbots that we're deploying that are powered basically by ChatGPT. And for those of you, that maybe if people have heard the buzz, but they're not aware, this is a generative AI, is a learning AI. So as a company improves their knowledge base, adds more information, the chatbot can pick that up, it can learn it, and it helps make those customer conversations more engaging, meaningful, and open-ended. So people can ask more open-ended questions, and the bot will deliver a much more personalized response, not just the hours or where you're located, but really get into personalized responses. And it gives some intelligent self-service options for people that we talked about earlier, helps the agents to focus on their customer relationships, automates a lot of those areas that are just simple questions and queries and for help and support. And then it helps generate accurate responses by actually learning from the data that's presented to it, categorizing that, and understanding how to deliver that better. And that, traditionally for this type of bot or this type of web chat, that training the model was one of the most challenging aspects of it. You had to, people would use folks that helped them to categorize their data, build it into all the responses, and really spend a lot of time training a model for a bot. Now with this solution that Trent will show you, we really, that's what's radically changed, is the model itself is constantly learning, and it doesn't need that the consultants and the human aspect of training it to the same extent. You still need to have your data well prioritized, categorized, and structured in order to get good responses, but it's nothing like the challenges companies have had in the past with this type of solution. And also, we'll show you this shortly, but just to talk to from a customer perspective, when somebody's engaging with your chatbot or your web chat, we give them a simple, intuitive interface so it can suggest some of the standard type of responses. But then, if people go to wanting to put in an open-ended question or response, it can easily handle that. The concept of what we call blended agents, which are agents that can support multiple types of media, then can seamlessly switch between their chat and call windows, handle multiple chats, deal with escalations that come to them. And if you see that from the perspective of building and implementing it, for supervisors and administrators, we give you a powerful design studio that you can use to build kind of that customer journey, and then combine, which is something that Trent is going to show you real time, extremely powerful. Combine those kind of rules-based answers with the open-ended ability to have somebody query the AI chatbot and not understand from a customer side that there's a difference between those two different types of questions. And it's very visual, easy to build out, helps create natural conversations, and there's coaching in there as you do that to help you build that out. So in a second here, I'm going to turn it over to Trent. He's going to do a demonstration for you today and just really walk you through that. And this demo is focused on two key areas. One is the chatbots that we've been talking about, powered by ChatGPT, that are customer facing, that can live on your website, and that will be able to be added to other channels later. And then the second is just the concept of supervisor and agent coaching. And I didn't talk about that much, but just understand, in a large contact center or customer support center, your companies are constantly adding agents, giving them new skills. And so you can leverage this same technology to help coach agents and supervisors so that way they have the ability to pick up knowledge quickly that they can then communicate back to customers in real-time conversations. So both of those areas, with the majority of the time really spent on the powerful chatbots powered by ChatGPT. So with that, Trent, I'm going to pause and I'm going to turn it over to you to take our audience through the design studio.
Sounds good, John. Thank you for that warm handoff and great job of presenting that information. So yeah, now let's get down to brass tacks and I'll just show you how all it works. So we're going to start with the customer experience definitely, and then work towards the agent assist and supervisor assist. So let me get my screen shared here real quick and we'll get started. All right, so what I'm displaying here now is our customer journey studio. This is our design tool similar to the one that we have for voice. We've taken that and made it a very visual building process in order to, again, visual learning is sometimes better than just kind of typing in code. So bringing that low code, no code aspect of this is all a part of this type of solution. Now, what I'm going to first start off with here is really intent or sentiment. Is we're leaving it very open for somebody to start typing some information in, and then we're going to see what the sentiment or the intent is and really build some flows behind that. So we're going to start with one of our widgets that are right over to the left here, and that's going to be a question. So we're going to drag our question over here, and then we're going to say, how can I assist? So now that we've got our question here, obviously it can be a lot more elaborate if we needed to, but since this is demonstration, we're just going to keep it kind of short and simple. So being in kind of the telecommunication space, MSP space, and those types of things, I'm going to put in basically kind of 4 different intents of what this organization really has. So the first one's going to be telecommunications. So we'll start with that. Now, what I'm not doing here is typing in phone support or things of that nature. This is where the intent or sentiment comes into play. So it's basically going out and learning, okay, a phone is associated to telecommunications. Let's direct that. Now, you'll notice here too, each one of these things I'm going to type in has an output. So I'm going to go ahead and type in some more. So we'll go ahead and say computer is going to be 1. So we've got some computer intent. And then now I'm actually going to get into more of a feelings-based intent. So was it a positive reaction or was it a negative reaction? So we're going to have positive first. Doesn't matter the order here. And then we'll have a negative. So what I'm doing, I'm just building the foundation here. And all I'm doing is asking a simple question, how can I assist, which leaves this open to free form. Now let's build out a little bit more with some of these widgets. So we'll just say it's a telecommunications. Now you see over here to the left, I've got plenty of modules to choose from. So, and they can be mixed and matched however we need it. So in this case for telecommunications, maybe again, we're trying to get support over to the consumer or customer as soon as we can. So I'm actually going to grab a multimedia widget here first. And after I kind of lay it down, I can move it whatever I want. And I'm actually going to play a video to them. So you can see where this would come into play if I was going to do, again, kind of in the support perspective. So I'm just going to say, maybe it's kind of resetting a video here. So we'll just put our video. And then next, computer. This one I'm just going to actually drop right into contacting customer service for computer support. So we're going to grab our contact center transfer option here. And then we're going to select a skill name and we're going to say this is data support. So we're just going to leave that box right there. So positive. So they gave me a positive response, whatever that may be. So to reward this positive response, I'm actually going to drop a coupon. So what I'm going to do is grab a document here that I've kind of already got staged. So we'll go ahead and grab that and I'm going to upload a document using my computer here. And we've got one just says coupon code. So I'm actually going to drop a coupon code here. And then we'll say that's for, 10% off. Oops. It's kind of redundant there, 10% off with the percent as well. So we'll just leave that box there. And as you can see, I'm starting to fill this up pretty good. So I can just zoom myself out by rolling. And now I want negative. So negative, I probably want to go ahead and get that right to a contact center supervisor. So I'm going to grab another contact center transfer over here, drop this down right here. And then we're going to select a skill name that's called negative. So as you guys know, contact center is skills based. So I can set different agents or even supervisors for that matter in order to again, drive these calls to those places that they need to go. So now that I've kind of set my foundational work, this is where the kind of cool drag and drop capabilities come in. Let's connect the dots. So here's where that chat started in here. We're going to display how can I assist? And if it's telecommunications related, we're going to send them right to the video here. Obviously, you can have more videos. We go computer support. We're going to drop that in our data support skill. If it was positive sentiment, we're going to give them that 10% coupon. And then finally, if it's negative, we'll drop it right down in here to our negative response, which is ultimately going to send them to a supervisor. So all we have to do is save this. And what's also nice is that we have a handy test button right here so you can build this out. And without even deploying it on a website, it can be done right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my test. That's going to bring up a separate window. I'm going to bring that over here as soon as I get that refreshed. Now we've got our need help icons. Let's go ahead and start. So this is basically what I built. How can I assist? The first one here, let's just say phone is broken. Okay, as an example. So again, we're recognizing intent. So now we're using the ChatGPT functionality, and you can see based off that flow I had earlier, I'm playing that video, a YouTube video that could be just a support video on how to reset your phone, those types of things. And again, we can break that down, that sentiment. I left it pretty broad. We can even break that down further to bring up separate video content and such. So that's an example of me putting in the phone is broken. So now I'm going to go ahead and in that chat here.
And Trent, while you're doing that, I'm going to point out one thing. You notice under the YouTube video, it says chat disconnected because Trent, this is only a 1 hour presentation. So he didn't keep building lines on the other side of that box. So you can serve that video, then you could have a secondary question that comes in, and then you can continue to route the customer through that journey. So I just wanted to point that out because that only happened because you just built that far, but you could just keep going on the other side. And
absolutely. Yeah, John, I'll kind of even run right with that. So if we wanted to provide even some buttons after that, so we'll just say we want to grab some buttons and we can actually ask them, okay, we'll give it option number 1, did that video help you? Or option number 2, do you want to speak to a live agent? So yeah, we can keep going with this. Every one of these has an output as we start building those. So yeah, I dead ended these just because we do have some short time. But yeah, technically you can go on consistently, and I will show one that I've got it built for the Veridian Hotel. That'll show a little bit more content as far as it goes. So next, again, back to just identifying sentiments. Let's go ahead and bring up another test one here. So this one, we can say our laptop was broken, because you remember I just put in computer. I didn't put in laptop or anything. So I'm not doing any kind of smoke and mirrors on you here. So we're just going to say laptop is broken. So that's going to route me over to desktop support. So I didn't put any keys. It's just taking me right there. I could have put a message in front of there that says routing to desktop support now. So that's one way of doing it. So that's actually contacting a desktop support agent. Same way with, let's go with positive and negative now. So we'll go ahead and bring up our test window one more time. So we remember we had a positive sentiment. So again, it could be anything. We're going to say, in this case, you guys are awesome. So So we're again, it's thinking about that. Oh, he didn't like you guys are awesome. It's always in a demonstration where stuff doesn't work quite as it wants to. This would have been an option here. So let's go ahead and drop in a message here. Let's delete that line. And then we'll bring that back over here. But before, let's get to the negative sentiment as well, which is going to take us to our negative sentiment analysis tool. So we'll go ahead and grab that document real quick, and then let's make another box. It's always when I'm doing a demonstration that happens, but that's okay. So we're going to go grab that document again, just like that. We're going to put our coupon. And then we'll hit save. We'll go back to positive.
You're demonstrating why the test buttons are in the first place, because
Exactly.
that's the real life way that these things work. Is that
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't necessarily want to have these things happen to you in real time, right? So it's best to kind of keep it behind the scenes. So we can say, you are awesome. Now we'll see if we get our coupon. There's our 10% off coupon. It might have been a couple different things, but now I've got my coupon here. We're providing to the document. Again, I just got that kind of pre-stage with a PDF that gives ultimately a coupon code here, right here in the context. So coupon code was thanks. So all I have to do is type in thanks. So that's an example of that. So again, I tested it before we get on the demo. I had to test it in real time. So that's awesome. And then finally, negative sentiment. And just so we can get a little better response here, let's add a message before we send it there. So let's go ahead and get rid of this here. And let's go ahead and drop in just a message that said, let's get you to a supervisor. Just so we get a little better visual of that response. So now we're going to go ahead and drag our negative sentiment over to here, to the message, and then we'll connect to that agent just like so. To our skill that's set up for negative, we'll go ahead and save that one, and then we'll go ahead and test it. Go ahead and grab this box down here, and we'll just say it was a bad experience. So bad, like so. So now it's getting me to a supervisor because it did pick up that the word was bad, which would be, considered negative sentiment. So now it's going to give me a supervisor, which now routes me over to the negative skill, which will be staffed by people who are, there for that type of support agreement versus kind of your standard. So really focusing in on, getting the person to the right agent at the same time, back to our kind of stomping grounds that we've been doing for the past 6-7 months now. It's first contact resolution, right? That's what we're trying to get accomplished here. So that's kind
of, I don't want to call you out on anything, Trent, but I want the audience to notice you didn't quite spell experience right,
not.
but the bot still figured it out. So that's the great part of this type of intent-based generative AI, is that it understood what you meant, even if it wasn't perfectly spelled.
Yeah, I was going to right click on it and fix it, but I figured I'd just be risky today. It's already broken once. Let's just get a little risky on it. Yeah, you're right. It does not. It's learned that people misspell experience quite often, right? So that's where the ChatGPT comes into play, and even Microsoft recognized that I spelled it wrong. However, again, we pushed it right over there. So let's get you to a supervisor. Yep. So that's just a really quick example of how we're using intent and sentiment. And you can see how quickly that was built based off those widgets and things like that. So what I'm going to do now is kind of go more into a real life scenario and show again how we could use some routing profiles, not just from the beginning, but really moving forward on this thing. So let's go ahead and switch our customer design studio. So we'll get rid of this one. So this is the one that I just built. So now we're going to switch it to one that was pre-built by me, which is the Veridian Hotel. So we're going to go to our design studio. It's going to change that over to the Veridian Hotel. As you can see, this one has a lot more content involved into it. But again, by following the lines and the pictures, this may look a little like spaghetti, but the visual nature of it actually assists in designing these things out. If you've ever had to do a wireframe before, this helps the customers out and who you're working with to get a visualization of what's going on and what's going on next. So I'm going to zoom in on another function or feature of this. So what we're going to do is launch this test bot, and you can see I've got negative and I've got customer service. And then I got one more function I'm going to talk about here shortly, which is going to be our knowledge base. So let's go ahead and see, again, some real live examples of, okay, customer service, negative intent, and what those responses look like. So let's go ahead and grab our test bot over here again. So we're going to go ahead and need help. So thanks for visiting. How can we assist? So I want to get to the front desk. So this is where we can combine the ability for ChatGPT and rules-based bots. So we've got the combination of both. So if I type in front desk, it's going to recognize that that's a customer service type intent and take me over to Veronica. So Veronica is our virtual agent, and now you can see that this is a little bit more of a guided tour. So we're now back to rules-based. So I can either say I'm a currently a guest or a new customer. So currently a guest, and then I've got some options here to select. So maybe this is a maintenance request, a room service, front desk, those types of things. So we said front desk. So now it's going to take you to an agent. So that's going to get us to our front desk agent. So here I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one out. Now we're going to hit this negative. So what negative is going to do is actually it's going to bypass Veronica because we don't need to upset somebody that's already upset by putting a virtual agent in front of them. So what I've done with any type of negative sentiment, I'm bypassing Veronica altogether, and I'm clicking this line right here, which is taking me on this journey all the way to getting connected to an agent. So we're bypassing all this automation because, again, if your customer's already upset, why upset them anymore by putting in content like this in front of it? So we're going to go ahead and grab our test bot again. Same one that we had before. This time I can just say my room was dirty. So room was dirty. So right there, I bypassed it, Veronica, altogether and went directly to an agent because this is considered negative intent. So again, you do that different based routing, get them where they need to go, because obviously we don't need them fuming, waiting on the line or waiting for Veronica to finally click through and get to where they need to go. So this was a great option as far as negative sentiment, right?
So, and I'm going to I want to underline that after having a couple of personal experiences recently with very large, rideshare company and another company, but what you just solved, I think, has been one of the biggest rubs on bots of any kind since they have started, which is how do I get out of this circular loop with something and actually get to an agent? And you basically showed how in the design, you just build it that way. The AI recognizes that intent from typed words, from just chat that's entered in, and it immediately routes to a human. And I think, if you take a look at adoption of this type of tool, what you just did, Trent, is you solved the problem on why it isn't more prevalently used.
You're absolutely correct, John. I built plenty of rules-based bots back in my lifetime. Heck, I built plenty of auto attendants that tried to, before we had chatbot technology, where we're trying to accommodate those, press 1 for this, press 2 for that. And most people bypass it, right? Because they just, press, everybody hit 0. Nobody wants to listen to it and let the person kind of figure out. Having this type of technology now available to us is, I find myself, I was a kitchen phone kid, meaning I was used to calling businesses and things like that. So, but I find myself leaning more towards the chatbot technology just because I'm a multitasker, right? So, but if I don't want to mess around with, if I really got a problem and I can just, type in exactly how I feel and it gets me where I need to go without having to do all the hoops. I mean, you're right. It just changed the entire customer service experience. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the other things here too is I actually put in another feature that we got. It's called, this is where we're really harnessing the power of ChatGPT. Now you may be wondering, hey, how do I use the power of ChatGPT? But I want to basically laser focus its output. So this is where we've got our knowledge base response. So over here, you can see up at the top, I've got a knowledge base. So I've actually trained ChatGPT to focus on the Veridian Hotel's website. So that's actually harnessing the power, focusing on a particular website. So that way it's not going off on looking at Yelp reviews and, Google stars and things like that. So having more of a focus on this website here. So if you can see I had one more option in here that it didn't match. So if it wasn't negative, it wasn't customer service, maybe they're looking for something else. So this is where I'm using the power of ChatGPT to learn and train on this website. So you can see that it's been trained. You can work on any website, and that's what I'm going to showcase here now. Let's try luxury. So I can tell that this one's probably going to work because it's taking a little bit more time to bring that back. But here is where it's basically formulating a response using ChatGPT, where luxury is not just a word, it's the customer experience, our complete experience, so on and so forth. So again, this is ChatGPT going, and I don't have a lot of content on this website. I think it's only like 12 pages. However, if your website or knowledge base or anything like that has a lot of content, it'll learn all that. We did one not too long ago. It had about 250 pages of content. It learned basically the content within 45 minutes, and it will continue to learn based off. So that's one of the other benefits of having ChatGPT is the repository. So before on rules-based chatbots, you had to store this response somewhere, right? And if you made a change to your website or changed the documentation, you'd have to go change it in basically two different places. In this case, we don't because it's learning it. So if we change it in one spot, it just learns different responses. But this is generative AI where it's reformulating response. This is not just a screen scrape. So this is, again, a good example of how we can train ChatGPT to be laser focused and provide more of an expected response, because as a hotel industry, you may not want ChatGPT to go find out all your Yelp reviews and formulate a response based off those, right?
So let's just underline that real quick, because as people in our audience, most of them are familiar with it or what they've heard about these type of ChatGPT specifically, is they've learned the universal kind of, it goes out, it looks at the web, it collects data, some of it's right, some of it may be wrong, but it assimilates that into an answer. So basically what you did, and you can do this with a URL, a knowledge base, whatever, when you're training this model, you're pointing it at a specific data set, which was this website. If it's customer support, a company may have a lot of answers for customer support and things like that in a database. And if you want to use it primarily for customer support, you would point it at that. And so the key is, with our generative AI chatbot, the data set that it's trained on is limited to what's at the destination that you point it to. Now, in support, if somebody adds in 5 new answers to the support deck or things like that next week, they will get assimilated and used by this. But I think the important thing for our audience is that's what puts the guardrails on making sure that a company has targeted answers specific to their brand that they can kind of build into their own brand language. If you read what we've said here about the luxury suites, and as Trent said, like, eliminate that information that they don't want to have assimilated and shared with their customers. So I think that was a perfect example of kind of the value here. And you could have built this to where after it rendered that response, it went back to another optional prompt to where, would you like to book a room now, or whatever else it is, as you kind of build out that flow over time.
Absolutely. After he replies with this response, we can send it somewhere else. It says, how did that sound? Ready to go? And let's go. And then you get right into booking a room and those types of things. So yeah, it's an excellent tool. Great. So based off that, so now that I've kind of introduced you to the ability to focus or harness the power on particular websites, let's talk a little bit more about now, how can we use this internally? Not just this, everything we've kind of done now is customer-based, consumer-based. Let's see how we can focus this on internally. So this is, again, one of the examples of that. So let's talk about maybe supervisor support. So this is just a web page, and our solution is completely browser based. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a new design studio. So if we were able just to have a bubble down below in our supervisor portal, we can actually focus, right, grabbing a knowledge base, right? And just dragging our start line, building a new knowledge base to our support site for that matter. So we'll just say, again, new URL, which we would just say Crescendo knowledge base or whatever it may be. Or we can take it to our CX documentation, whether this be something that you guys have created internally or if it's something that was provided by us, those types of things. We can actually embed this bot inside of the supervisor portal so they can ask things like, what is a missed call report? And then it would actually reach into the documentation and show the definition of what a missed call report is. So how do I build a campaign? How do I build those types of things? So by having and leveraging this technology internally, we're able to assist supervisors, administrators with more common language questions, especially with somebody that, you know, is just kind of starting out. So it's really great in that regards. And then if you could take it one step further, is again, our agent toolbar is also browser based. Why can't we go ahead and embed some, point this more towards maybe a CRM or knowledge base based off the type of questions these agents are answering and have some auto responses come up? That's kind of the next gen where we're heading with this, is that we're actually going to tap into the actual voice transcription, kind of shifting away from digital. So while an agent is speaking, if that person says my phone is broken, we're going to have basically a pop up a little window that says, you know, here's common troubleshooting tips. So again, kind of from a support perspective, that would be agent assist would be awesome. And then you can change that for different verticals because you're basically just changing the URL and where it's learning from. So it has real world capabilities and solving real world problems, not only for our customers and consumers, but able to do the supervisor assist and then also agent assist where everything's kind of going. So so that's kind of it. I see we've maybe got a few more minutes here for some Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put a bow on this, John, and let you kind of take it back over and let's get going.
Yep, of course. Now my screen's not there. It goes. Thanks, Trent. Great demo. And
Thank
just
you.
a summary for the audience, you know, and you think about the training curve with agents, supervisors, and people like that. A new product introduction, you need to train your agents on. You know, you can have a training, but using what Trent just showed them to be able then to take the answers and informations to work with customers and deliver that is powerful. So, you know, just understanding what we've shown you is our VIP CX platform that really gives you that one digital interface, web-based interface for your agents to be able to support your customers, whether it's through inbound calls, WhatsApp, SMS, email, web chat, Twitter, Facebook, outbound dialing, outbound calls, and then use workflows to integrate, like Trent just showed you in the Visual Studio, the things like the bots, and integrate into your CRM. One of the things I love is if a customer called you last week, goes to your site and chats this week, maybe SMS with you, you know, leveraging the intelligence in your CRM, we can take and assemble all those interactions into one record. So that way, when an agent's assisting that customer in the future, they can see it in their profile. So some powerful tools to really help organizations up the game on supporting consumers across all of the different generations and age groups. And so if we're going to have Bruce come on and give us the questions that you've put in the chat, but if you want more information and you're an end user customer, feel free to follow the URL there. For service providers that might be interested in leveraging this platform, we've got directions there, and then contact information for Trent and myself. So Bruce, I'm going to turn it back over to you so we can go through the questions.
Okay, great. Because we've got a few, and one of them going back to Trent's example with the hotel. Does Crescendo build the customer journey map for its customers, or does the hotel build it?
It can be done in a handful of different ways, whether it be we train them how to do it, but typically the engagement will come from the partners and or engineers to build that for them. We're here to walk them through the journey. First, moves, adds, and changes obviously can be done by the customer if they want to make a minor change, but just like it was but kind of back in the day where, we'll sit down with the customer, actually try to solve their business problems, build it foundationally to start, and then make tweaks along the way. And that's typically how we hand that solution over.
Yeah, the nice thing is that we do that as part of the initial engagement with the customers and over time. But I hope our audience saw really how easy that kind of wireframe design studio to build those out. So part of our goal is to transfer the knowledge to the supervisors and administrators. So if they need to make changes, if they want to make improvements, they don't need us to turn the knobs once they've learned how to do this. And with what Trent talked about, with the ability to actually use the same kind of generative AI to help them with training aids, it really gives them kind of the ability to have help built into the platform. So if customer says, nope, we want you to do 100%, we do that turnkey. But what we really get excited about is when they're engaged enough with the solution to take on more of that themselves and really then make it fit their organization to leverage the benefits of the technology.
Great.
Well, that's a great segue to the next question. Is she wants to know that if your company has a knowledge base, can this integration load that content within the chatbot if we create the correct routing?
Let's see. If your company has knowledge base, can this integration load the content within the chatbot? Yes. The answer is correct. We can do that. So those knowledge bases, we can reach out to documents and things like that if we want it to be more flow based. But I believe the answer is if we focus it on your knowledge base and they ask particular questions, the ChatGPT will learn how to respond to those questions using the generative AI. Now, if the response wasn't appropriate, or that's where we get to that next level, that other output that says, was this helpful, or do we need to take it a step further? So we kind of build on that knowledge as well, continuing that flow. But again, the point would be to also make sure that they always have an exit point to a live agent if need be. We try our best intent wise, but yeah, if it was very, it depends on how your knowledge base is set up and how it would learn.
Yeah, so we're using the Microsoft Azure OpenAI ChatGPT, the enterprise grade technology here, and you point that at whatever the reference document is that you want to learn from, whether it be the website, the knowledge base, what other documentation that you have, and then that's what it's assimilating and providing answers for. So so the answer to the question is absolutely yes. Hopefully some of those outcomes will also help people form or change or add things to that knowledge base over time. That's the generative part of it, is where it's constantly learning.
Okay, great. Now, can you set a time period to refresh from a web page so that, if the content is refreshed on the web page, then ChatGPT will be updated with the fresh content as well?
Yeah, if you chose to do that, you can definitely do it. ChatGPT will learn on its own as content is added. However, if you wanted it to retrain, there is an option inside of the solution where you can retrain on at any time or update anytime. If you feel like you've made some major changes or added a lot of different documentation, yeah, you can basically kind of force the retrain as needed.
Yeah, so it's looking at natural intervals at that data, and then it's assimilating the new data. However, if you know that you just did a major update to your site and you want it to learn that, as Trent just said, you can have it fetch that information. And I was amazed. I don't know, 250 pages for me might be a week, but you said it learned 250 pages of information in 45 minutes. So that's pretty impressive.
Correct. And as we focus it on websites, it actually will get better at answering those questions. So the more input that it receives from the customers, it'll learn how to better respond back to those questions as well. So it's truly generative AI.
Oh, great. Now, here's a question that I just got a kick out of. Is this the same ChatGPT that consumers are using, that you could read about, that kids are using to do their homework?
You mean to cheat on their homework?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It has business
Yeah, okay,
value.
that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
go ahead,
John, you
John.
want to take that one?
Well, I
So,
was just going to say it's the same technology. However, this isn't the two things that are different. It's not the consumer grade technology. So
right,
this is a higher level, has a higher level SLA behind it. The second thing is it's focused on the data set that you want. So, in the one that you read about, that it's assimilated information, sometimes it's correct. If you're pointing it at your knowledge base or your website or information that has integrity around the responses that you want delivered, that's the key difference. And that's kind of
yeah.
the peace of mind for customers that are adopting it.
Okay. What about where exactly does the Chat GPT bot source its information?
At where we focus it. So yeah, that's where we would source it. Hopefully that answered your question there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that the customer will, when we're training it or building it the first time, they will tell us where to point it. So it is very directionally focused on a domain, on a document, on a knowledge base. And you saw when Trent did that visual building, it actually had, you can put the URL in down here and you're telling it, go fetch. That's the place. Everything you know in life, you learn from this site. And that's what you're sharing back. So it's extremely targeted.
Yeah, it's not going to come back with inappropriate responses unless you have inappropriate responses on your website.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up with one more question. Crescendo is offering this to end users, but you also give service providers the ability to offer these solutions. So, how can a service provider find out more about offering this solution? And do you want to discuss price structuring here, or do they need to contact you?
Yeah, they should contact me. I took the information off the screen, but we've got our contact information. You can reach out. I'll pull that up again real quick. We've got service providers. There's a URL there where you can look at it, www.netsapiens.com/contact center, where this information's there, and you can fill out a form there and we'll reach out to you. Anybody can feel free to reach out to me or to Trent, either of us, and we're more than happy to assist. And that's where we have over 200 service providers globally, Bruce, that have built their UCaaS offer and offer CCaaS services on our platform. And because you guys are participating, we'll have a few hundred of them together at our annual user group meeting here in Scottsdale in a couple weeks from now. So we're excited to be continuing to grow that community of people who are leveraging our technology, branding it and billing it, and deploying it in their own data center if they want to be able to support their customers. And if anybody wants to find out more about that, just feel free to reach out.
All right, great. So I think that's going to about do it today. So we want to thank Crescendo's Chief Revenue Officer, John Britton, and the CCaaS Customer Experience Subject Matter Expert, Trent Dewey. Thank you both very, very much. Now, from all of us at Channel Vision Magazine and from all our friends at Crescendo, thanks for attending. Have a safe, prosperous day, and we will see you in November at the CVX Expo.
Thanks, Bruce. We'll see you there.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye now.